This is a General Electric model L512. Dial string seems a little slipping a little. It's kind of cool. It's bakelite. It's really small. I mean, here's my hand. Here's the radio. It's pretty small. So white knobs. This handle is Catalan, which is kind of cool. There's a little crack here, which I'm hoping I can fix. There's the original back with the antenna. Probably a 5-tube set. I'm sure it's got no label on the back. Okay. Or at the bottom. Yes, it needs a lot of cleaning and the usual stuff, I'm sure. Original cord has a General Electric label right here. Obviously that's got to be replaced. So should be straightforward, hopefully. So here's the chassis. It came out pretty good. The speaker is fine. It's a permanent magnet. I don't know if that's a replacement or the original. Looks original. Nice dial. It's pretty clean. This will need to be cleaned up. Okay. Lot of dust. I mean, all that needs to be cleaned. So let's take a look underneath. Really? Oh. Huh. So someone's worked on this. Someone has worked on this. They changed the electrolytics and nothing else. Well, this is how not to fix a radio. I mean, they didn't do a terrible job. This is alright. This one, I'm not crazy about, but it's not bad. I might keep them in there if they test okay. They don't look that old. They're probably 10, 15 years old. But they didn't even clean the chassis. Never mind, change the other capacitors. And look at this cord. Look at that. That's not acceptable. So this is just going to be standard. Change the caps. I bet it works. Change the caps. Do an alignment. Should be fine. Hopefully. So that took 15 minutes to clean the chassis. I mean, really. The person replacing those two capacitors couldn't be bothered to take 15 minutes out of their day to clean this. I don't know. Anyway, it's all original tubes, General Electric tubes. So it's one of two things. That means it's either low hours and they didn't really use it much, which is possible. I mean, it's like a portable set. You'd probably get it for a bedroom or something like that. Or it has a lot of hours on it and no one changed the tubes and they're all bad. I don't see, usually the silver kind of deposits on the top of the tube, and I don't see that much, so my guess is it's low hours. Anyway, cabinet needs to be cleaned. I'm going to give that a quick clean and we'll do more in-depth later once we get the radio playing. So we took chassis out, cleaned it up. I'm going to just give these bearings on the tuning capacitor a little bit of spray of, I'll do a little here. That's probably too much. Okay. Let's just see if that turns any better. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was getting hung up before, so that's definitely much smoother. Okay. Now, a couple things here. So we did that. Probably should clean the tube sockets, but I'm going to do that later. Speaker looks good. Hopefully I don't touch it and put a hole in it. It's good. All right. Electrolytics are replaced. Like I said, it probably works. They didn't do a very good job. They're not bad quality. I think they're, I can't read the name, Supertech maybe? They're decent. But the rest of the capacitors are not decent. They're actually far from it. And some of these are probably, one is at least the across the line cap. So you got it coming from there. There's B minus, so this 0.05 here, that's your across the line. It's going from B minus to, yeah, the other side. So I need to change that with an X rated if I have one. I mean, there's not that many caps in here. Like, why would you change this and then just not change the 6 other capacitors in this radio? I mean, it makes no sense. I don't know. I don't like this. They should have put heat shrink over it. It's fine. I mean, it's not really moving much, but they should have put heat shrink. I may just undo that and put some heat shrink on it just because I don't like the way it looks. Some rubber wiring, but it doesn't look bad. It's not crumbling. So that can probably stay. Oh, of course, my hand's in the way. I'm sorry. I wanted to just mention this. So this capacitor here, typically things are soldered to the chassis or put in with a terminal strip and then, soldered to the terminal strip like over here. This is spot welded. Now I've got a welder, but I'm certainly not going to weld the capacitor to the chassis. So I'll probably have to find a different way of making the ground. I'm sure I can do that. I'm hoping the 0.01 that I have will work. Sometimes if you change the value of this across the line or line bypass capacitor, you get interference in the reception. And we have pretty good AM radio reception here, honestly. Very little interference. It may or may not affect the set to the point where it's not listenable, but we'll give it a try. That is an important one because if it's shorted, it's basically like jumping the 2 prongs on an electrical outlet, which is sometimes you see these exploded, which is always fun. And I also just wanted to talk about the ways to connect these capacitors. I know everyone knows how to do this already, but 18,000 videos on changing capacitors. You can go on YouTube and change capacitors all day vicariously through someone else. Anyway, you could do it like this, and you turn the little thing over like this and squeeze it and then put this through there and whatever. That's one way to do it. It's not wrong. Doesn't look the best, but it's not wrong. I do prefer personally, if I can reach the terminal, I will heat it up, remove the old component, and put the new one in. So like this one will go in like this, and it'll look pretty good. I can tuck it over here. I prefer to do it that way. It's not required, but I think it makes for a much better presentation. I mean, you look at these, they look better. I put some heat shrink over here, so I was able to save this capacitor. But yeah, I think that's the way to do it to really make a radio look good. And I know no one's going to see this, and if you want to quickly get it done, if you have a radio with 27 capacitors and you just want to change them quick, fine, that's fine. I got to do something to occupy my time here. I'm forced to do the J hook here because I can't find another place to ground this. So anyway, we're going to do this. Okay. Got this. Come on. And then you hook this over and you just tighten it up. And then we're just going to solder it, and that'll be it. Okay, changed all the caps. These are what was in there. Oh, I forgot this one. I'll come back to that. That's not a big deal. That's just to connect an external antenna, which I'll probably never do. Change the cord, put a new plug on it. These plugs are outrageously expensive. Try and power it up. Okay, we got the power hooked up to my dim bulb. I got the variac on, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And then I get that on. Okay, let's give it 15 volts. The pilot light lit up, that's good. We're at 25 volts. Let it sit there just for a minute. Think it's gonna work or what? Give it 40 volts. Usually around 60 to 70 is when these start playing. At 65, go up to 70. Nothing. 85 volts. Oh, I hear something. It's weak, very weak. They're 120.
Oh, we did a jersey coder today.
It should be stronger than that. I should be getting more. 710. Yeah, I'm gonna check these tubes. Maybe weak. I'm gonna do an IF alignment. That should help.
How do you take your iced coffee? Caramel swirl. How about in twos? That's right.
It's not that terrible.
Medium iced coffee. Reported yesterday that the
Needs an alignment.
over the next 4 years.
Hey, at least we're moving in the right direction. Okay, we are going to do an alignment. I have it hooked up here. I have this, this unfortunately broke, so that is connecting to chassis, and then the other one is going through a 0.05 capacitor to the grid of the oscillator, and we're gonna go ahead and power this up here. Now what they want us to do
WICC 600 AM and 107.3 FM in Madison.
you can fit turn this down. Bad. So that's pretty good. Now what I have to do is I have to check the dial scale. So there's two adjustments here on the side. One's for the oscillator, one's for the antenna. Now the antenna, to do this properly, you have to go to your signal generator and put up to band C and go to, 1500, so 1.5. Then we'll go over to the radio, and we'll go to 1500. Where is it? Is it really there? Actually quite good. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to move my meter, and we'll go to the side. Okay, oh, that's the oscillator. Okay, and 1500 is actually right there. So I'm going to move that. Okay, come on, fit. There is a hole for. this one. It's a little better. Okay. So now I'm going to pull this off. Should play all right. Oh, better pull that off too. Doesn't need that on. Come on. Seems weak.
There's such big Nick Plummer fans. How long have you been? Vitamins are necessary going forward. Supply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com.
Here. Let's go all the way. Make sure the dial pointer's lined up. That looks about right, actually. Maybe a little more over. Oh, is it going to be difficult? Let's go all this way. Yeah, actually, that's about right. Just that 1500 was not lined up very nicely.
Ball swung on and missed strike three, and McCann down on strikes, 2 men away.
Baseball's in a different place now than it was then. And I would imagine now, if Blasting's Village would have done that, or any player does that, it would be looked at a lot differently than it was 16 years ago.
And I also remember that some of the concern was that the other team was going to take note of that. Well, what would they care? He wasn't doing anything to taunt. Here's Guillorme. Takes the fastball for a called strike. 0-1. 5-0 New York. 2 out, nobody on. Last of the 8th.
And we'll see Diaz.
No save situation. The 0-1 hit on the ground to second. Him to get it. Ketel Marte throws to first in time. Side retired. Mets go in order against Matt Peacock into the end of 8.
Really want to go there.
Honda dealers. Great relationships, great conversations, great futures. Catch the momentum and visit BakerTilly.com to learn how their leading advisory tax and assurance
Just adjusting the oscillator has just kicked it up into high gear here. Yeah, there we go. Much better volume. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's what you're doing. Is
Safety awards that
check the. Well, there's my signal generator. Usually what you can do is you can do it from here too. This is another way to.
what the people will say to you.
Yeah, now we have better volume.
That's your fate.
And the stations are in the right place.
Into the economic
1100.
impact of this, along with reporters and editors who help make your business week profitable.
Let's dig into it with Bloomberg Business Week editor
Yeah, it's
Joe Weber.
1100.
Cover story.
Prices are not keeping
1010.
people away from.
With your favorite Bigelow tea.
880, 850, 820. Yeah, this is good.
You can really, like, you know, this
710
is
is coming in where it's supposed to.
20 blocks out. This is not something that takes time.
So I think this is working about as I would expect. The volume's a little low, but it's not crazy.
It's a great thing, right? So
It's acceptable. I do have it on slightly reduced voltage because I have it on the lamp and the isolation transformer, which isolation transformer won't matter, but
Well, now she can do it without any.
actually not that bad. I think it's probably fine. So yeah, so what I'm going to do, I've got one more capacitor I forgot to change, so I'll do that now. And I think it's basically ready to go.
Our patients keep telling us that they need to have budgets,
Not a bad
planned
radio.
out for their new
I'm
clothes
gonna
after the
just
program.
off camera, just do the IFs one more time, and then I'll change that cap, and then we'll have it going again. So all this capacitor does is it isolates the external antenna from the internal one. I really don't need to change it because I'll never use an external antenna. But honestly, I don't want to put this one away incomplete. I just would feel bad about that, especially since the rest of it's working pretty well. Cabinet, well, you'll see it's cleaning up. Made a little mistake, but it's cleaning up. So I'm going to change it. And now the right way to do this, which I never bother with, it's usually, like I said, never bother with putting an external antenna on something like this because, well, first of all, our AM reception here is very good, and I never have a problem listening to any of the stations I ever want to listen to with the internal antenna. But to do this right, you're supposed to use one of these safety capacitors that fail open in case this gets hit by lightning. Okay, I went ahead and I just changed this. I was trying to put some heat shrink tubing on it, and I cut the size wrong, and then I realized it actually doesn't come close to touching anything, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's on there. The rest of the caps are done. I left these in there. They're perfectly fine, and they're not old at all. I mean, like I said, they're probably within the past 10 years. And these tend to last for 30 years, 40 years, whatever. Long time. So, radio plays well. Sounds good. I'm going to plug it back in a second. Okay, we got this playing.
Listen, first thing, in reference to the Yankees.
Going to catch Delhi.
Radio 80. The NYPD's hate crimes
Sorry.
Actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Identified app.
Neither of us in Monroe, the community has come together and raised $80,000. What happens?
Home runs, but a lot of solo home runs.
Wanted to test my theory out, so I spoke to a few Black Americans.
Country sometimes goes unpunished.
To create an online solution to help kids
Focused on improving the lives of.
To show you how easy it is to file a claim.
Sepulchre, the rising of the sun. And they said among themselves,
Discover vibrant dresses.
Number 2, which is going to get the...
Pretty sensitive.
You know that? No.
800-648-3589. That's 800-648-3589.
Griffin Bariatrics can help you lose weight and gain health.
This is working pretty well. Crack is still visible, unfortunately. Can't really do too much about it. I'm going to try and glue it a little better.
Dr. Abe Friedman can help.
Other than that,
Like Tammy lose weight and gain health.
looks pretty nice. I love the
Griffin
white
Bariatrics has been included in the
and
state
orange.
of Connecticut's network of distinction for meeting
Now,
high
originally,
safety standards and producing
this
better
handle would have been white. So it would have been white and brown. But this is Catalan and it likes to age. And it changes color, and I like orange anyway, so I'm going to leave it. You can polish this significantly and it will turn white again, but it may not last, and a lot of people like these colors anyway, so it's kind of a nice little radio. I think it works pretty well for what it is.
She became overweight,
So
several vertebrae fused together. Sophie was going to be
I'm pretty happy with it.
VINOVITE.com.
Not bad.